All right, now this little beauty in my hands is a Canon RF 50mm 1.2 L series lens. I've had it for about a year, and I'll be honest, I absolutely love the character and personality that this lens brings when I'm shooting with it. There's just something about the personality of a lens that comes through that it's so subjective and hard to define, but when you get it, it's just one of those things that just really defines and makes you want to reach for certain lenses over others. Now, one thing I was very interested in was how this 51.2, which is a beast of a lens, compares to the Canon cinema lines. Now, Canon makes some fantastic cinema lenses. They're some of my favorite because they're affordable, relatively speaking, and they have such good personality. I recently had a situation where I could take this trusty 51.2 and put it up against the Canon CINE 50mm 1.3. Now, I was really excited because I do love the character of the Canon cinema lenses, and I just wanted to see what these things look like side by side. Like, can the character of an RF lens actually match or possibly even surpass the character you get from a Canon cinema lens? Oh, hey, and do me one favor. If you find this video interesting in any way, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. It's really hard keeping a YouTube channel up and running these days, and your subscriptions are the absolute thing that keeps this thing going. Now, one thing I do want to note before I go in and look in the computer and compare these files, when I'm looking at this test, let's make sure we're being honest about what we're looking at. I'm not going to be talking about build and all that stuff. Both lenses are built really well, but they're just certain functional practicalities of a cinema lens that just doesn't make sense for something like an RF lens. The big one is going to be the manual focus ring. I mean, the RF lens have this terrible manual wire focus thing that I just don't like. A cinema lens is always going to have a very smooth wire ring. It has a clickless aperture, all that stuff. It's not about the mechanics of these for cinema stuff. What I want to know is subjectively, the character, the kind of quality of the lens. How does a 50 match up on a pure head-to-head quality and character component to a cinema lens? So let's go ahead, let's jump in the computer, look at these things head to head, and see how the character of each of these lenses pops on through. Okay, so here we are now in front of the computer. Let's go ahead and take a look at these two lenses kind of head to head in the computer, no holds bar, right? Now, the first thing you can see here is I do have this Canon 50mm RF on my daughter that I took some images of. And the first thing you can see right away is you can just really, once again, see the character of this lens really coming through. I just love how three-dimensional that 51.2 really makes things feel. It gives it such a good character and depth. You can see this very beautiful bokeh behind it. Really love the way it feels. Let's go ahead and take a look at the CINE 50. All right, now, but when I pop over to the CINE 50, you can see a really awesome thing too. One thing you'll notice right away is, once again, has a lot of texture in it, but you'll kind of notice a difference right away in the contrast levels between these two lenses. That's what I found very interesting, is the CINE lens just is really designed to kind of optimize that kind of creamy skin quality, and you can really see a difference in how the 50 CINE will soften the skin quality between these two lenses. The RF has a really beautiful, it's a sharp, tack sharp lens, but the CINE is designed to have that extra level of creaminess, and you can absolutely see that here as you look at it. The skins just come out a little more creamy. I also thought it'd be a really good test to kind of go a little bit wider than just the tight look there. And once again, you can start to really see the character differences. I really love shooting this 50 RF at a wide set. And once again, you can see this nice three-dimensionality to it. But if I come over to this CINE lens, you will definitely see a difference. If I come to my CINE lens, you will see now, once again, the skin tones go softer, and look at the bokeh in the background. I think it's really interesting to look at that bokeh in the background. If I go between the bokeh, you can see on the RF, I get these beautiful circle rings. I do have some onion ringing in here though, if you look at it 100%. Whereas if I come here to my CINE lens, look at that. I don't have any onion ring. It's very crisp and clear. But you do start to see one of the telltale signs here of a CINE lens that I found from the CINE-E lenses, which is in the corners, you kind of get a little bit of this football shape here to the bokeh. Whereas if I switch to the RF lens, what you'll see is you get this still very consistent round bokeh all the way around. That kind of football shaped bokeh is actually one of what I consider one of the signature looks of a CINE-E lens. For whatever reason, when you have a wide open aperture on a CINE-E lens, you will get that kind of football kind of looking bokeh. at the wide open apertures. That's how you kind of know you're on a Canon cinema glass. Now, one of the other tests I really like to do when I'm doing a test is just to see how the focus breathing goes. So what I did is I went ahead and put my RF on a manual focus, and I'll let you see the focus breathing here between the two lenses. You can see on the RF, it's just a beautiful quality. If I focus, boom, you'll see. And I think the focus breathing on that is very minimal, very, very nice, kind of what I would expect from a lens of this caliber and this quality. And once again, I just love the three-dimensionality of that lens. Now, if I come over to the Canon CINE lens, you will see that as I go, I'm going to go ahead and focus pull here so you can see the focus breathing. And I'm going to pull right here, and what you're going to see is there's a little bit of focus breathing there. It's not too bad, but I'm going to come back now just to show it. Completely what you'd expect for a budget, for a cinema lens in this kind of price range, and you can just kind of see the creaminess there. Now, I also thought it'd be very important, we kind of see them head to head. I wanted to put them side by side on the screen to look at. And you can see right here, these are the two lenses side to side. And this is where you can really start to see the differences stand out between an RF lens and a cinema lens. And you're going to notice some things right away. One is you're going to just notice the contrast level is just a little softer here on the cinema lens. It just has a softer contrast ratio, which is something we really want to see in cinema type stuff. The other thing you're going to see is you're going to see how it renders the skin tones. I find I love the RF 50, but you're going to see that the Cine lens just has it just maintains that creaminess in the skin texture. It's a little less sharp, it's a little more creamy, and honestly, when you're shooting cinema, that's something you 100% want to see. The other thing you're going to really see if you look at the difference between these is going to be in the bokeh in the background. You're going to see that the RF definitely maintains a more circular, perfect bokeh at wide open apertures, whereas you see this kind of little bit of a football shape here on the Cine lens, but the RF lens does have a bit of onion ring in there, whereas the bokeh on the Canon CINE is completely clean, no onion ring, really maintains a top look. And I think if you look at these just really show you the different character of the lens. All right, guys, what do you think about that? I thought that was it was a really fun test to do. And I know you can really see when you put these two lenses head to head where a cinema piece of glass really prioritizes its look versus a traditional RF or EF type glass. I mean, you're really going to get those smooth, creamy skin tones. The cinema really, really does a great job of that, and you really can see the contrast ratios in the glass difference. And it's really just kind of cool to see that head to head. But that being said, I gotta say, looking at the 50 RF compared to the 50 Cinema, I still love the quality and character that comes with the lens. It makes me really, really enjoy it. I just know that a cinema glass is always going to have a little different character than an RF, no matter how expensive, let's be honest. Anyway, guys, I'd love to hear what you have to say with this. Leave me any notes and comments down below. And yeah, go out there, keep on shooting, and yeah, I'll talk to you soon.